But those torture emails are somewhat ominous.
There's another email here I'm going to bring up. It's regarding the Zorro Ranch. And there's been a lot of talks about that ranch. There's an investigation by the state as well, finally into the property that has a new owner right now. Because there's a lot of theories on what went on there. No women were trafficked there. Some people talking about potentially bodies buried. I'm going to read out an email here from Eddie Aragon. I'm sure you've seen it, Nick. But I'd love to get your thoughts on it. I'll read it out for the audience as well, and I've mentioned it in previous shows. But it's one of the more extreme ones. I read it, I'm like, no way, this is true, and I have to verify that it's actually true. So this is an email in 2019. So Edward emails Epstein's representative. No, sorry, someone, we don't know who. Someone, their name is hidden, emails Edward, who works with Epstein. Edward, this is sensitive, so it will be the first and last email depending on your discretion. You could choose to take it, but this comes from a person that has been there and seen it all, as a former staff at the Zorro. The material below was taken from Jeffrey Epstein's home as my insurance in case of future litigation against Epstein. Sorry, no questions. What is damning about Epstein is yet to be written. Did you know somewhere in the hills outside the Zorro Ranch, Epstein's property in New Mexico, 2 foreign girls were buried on orders of Jeffrey and Madam G, which is likely Ghislaine Maxwell. Both died by strangulation during rough fetish sex. And then there's 7 attachments. Likely evidence, when you're trying to extort someone, this looks like an extortion email, you'd want to offer evidence to say, look, I actually have that material, and this is proof. And the attachments include 1 video, 14-minute video says sex video with a minor. Another one says 27-minute video, and a 13-minute video that says threesomes, and 9-minute video says rape fantasy with an underage girl. And number 7 is a 15-minute video that says girl from Bay Area, suicide attempt, confession to Madam Ghislaine Maxwell. Please arrange 1 Bitcoin by 6 p.m., which is about $9,000 at the time. Today, Thursday, September 2019, to the BTC wallet address that's also redacted. And then, I didn't read that part. The USB will be sent anonymously to your attention by overnight courier upon receipt of the funds. You have my assurance this is exclusive, never shared before, no attorneys, no samples, no questions, please confirm ASAP. So this is an extortion email, but it has very serious allegations and apparently 7 pieces of evidence to prove that this person has that material. There's also reports, there was a report that was someone contacted Fox News that apparently stole, I think it was a maid at Epstein's home that stole USBs that had sex, underage sex in that footage, and Fox News, I think, refused to see the footage because it has underage sex. What do you make of that email? Could we see such, these are pretty extraordinary claims, could that be true?
I think I've been researching child trafficking and human trafficking for 23 years. And there's one common denominator that traffickers have, whether they've got a mansion on the Upper East Side or they're living in a trailer court in the Midwest. They're vicious, psychopathic people. Jeffrey Epstein did not have a conscience, and I don't think Ghislaine Maxwell has a conscience either. So we approach things like,
in 1 mile, turn right onto Marshall Fuller Road.
Just anathema to us, or killing someone would be anathema to us. But these people are functioning on a much different level psychologically. They're functioning without a conscience, and also they're functioning with the knowledge that whatever they do, they will get away with it, which are variables that can lead to indescribable evil. And we've seen pictures or JPEGs
in a half mile, turn right onto Marshall Fuller Road.
So at this point, we definitely know that these girls were under 11 years old. And Virginia Giuffre had an affidavit that she said that the girls were as young as 12. And I've known for a number of years that these girls some of them were younger than 10. So with that, I don't have any problems believing. With Epstein and Maxwell killing someone, I mean...
Turn right onto Marshall Fuller Road.
I don't think that that's beyond the pale.
So the claim here is that they did not kill someone. So according to the email, these people died because of rough sex. Now,
Continue for 2 miles.
based on her experience, there was a lot of rough sex, especially when Jelaine is involved. She had a lot of sex toys that are on the rough fetish side. So she did not find that surprising. But the email claims that those people died because of rough sex, but they were not intentionally killed by Epstein or Jelaine. But after they died during sex, during strangulation or whatever, they were buried afterwards. So it might have been an accident, according to the email, the allegations.
That's entirely possible, but if you strangle someone and they're dead, you could certainly surmise that you killed them.
Oh, they've definitely been killed. So I'm saying we don't know if actually Jelaine and Epstein killed them.
That's true.
The email claims that they buried them, but maybe it's a client of theirs, or maybe it's them. We don't know. So just saying what these allegations, and you're saying based on what you've seen,
there are no clients, none.
it is possible.
They're
This is
just
true.
having
It is possible
sex
that
with
there's bodies
thousands of
right now
people
buried
every
at the Zorro Ranch.
week,
I
and they
see,
work for
the
Russia.
thing about this is, I try to approach everything agnostically, and then when
There's
enough
no such thing
information
as
comes
pizza.
in, I make
That
what I
works
think
illegal.
is a decision. But we already know that Epstein and Maxwell, as I said before, are psychopaths. So the thing is, the information that we see, those videos, those are very incriminating videos.
We do not know that.
But would they go so far as to kill someone? And I don't know if
Well,
that
it's child
particular
porn. That's it.
threat
And it's all been
blackmail
erased
letter
after they watched
is entirely true, but I don't think it's beyond the pale that Epstein and Maxwell would kill someone through rough sex, and if someone died, they definitely have to bury it, for sure.
I want to open another email here, and it's about, this is the first one, and this is about buying a baby. So this is an email from a redacted person, like the victim, a detailed email where she's upset a few things about Epstein.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Amanda Drive.
And then near the end of the email, she says the following: "You made many unusual offers. You offered to buy a baby 6 months into our relationship, and 6 years later you offered to support my ex-boyfriend. Do you remember that? It's probably not in my emails."
Turn right onto Amanda Drive. Then turn right.
So first she says it's probably not in my emails either. So it shows that Epstein, and you see that throughout the files, Epstein tries to
Turn
avoid
right
the
onto
files.
Brittany Drive.
Incriminating. Epstein either never replies or replies with very limited, very short reply, because he tries to keep things outside.
Continue for 800 feet.
You offered to buy my baby. And when Epstein replied to that message, he ignored that particular point. He responded to her other points, complaining about things, about money, etc. But is there any other indications, or is there a possibility?
In 300 feet, 123 Brittany Drive, Dallas, Georgia 30157, USA will be on the left.
Black market babies out of the ranch in New Mexico. So that is the second one. And actually, Virginia Giuffre, one of the things that really
123 Brittany Drive, Dallas, Georgia 30157, USA is on the left.
Oh, I had another, by the way, there's another victim I interviewed. The interview's going out, probably went out just a few minutes ago, half an hour ago. And it was an interview with, I think her last name is O. Her first name is, there it is, Rena O. I interviewed her, you probably know her since you've been doing this for so long. And Rena said, and she said, she's never disclosed it before, she told me at my interview, that Epstein did ask her to have his baby as well. And he apparently asked many other women to have his baby. So I just wanted to kind of give you that context. She disclosed it in her book that's coming out, and she mentioned it in the interview 2 days ago. So Giuffre is not that makes that allegation. I know.
And then there's also another document about that too. I believe I used to do science reporting, and in 1995, Dolly the sheep was cloned. It's very easy to clone anything you want to clone. You need an ovum. You take the DNA out of the ovum, you insert the DNA that you want into the ovum, and then you give an electric charge, and that starts the mitosis process of the cell split. And when even before I got into all this crazy stuff in 2002, 2003, in 1995, after Dolly the sheep was cloned, I thought to myself, there's got to be megalomaniac billionaires that are cloning themselves. And people in New York City, that's where I live, are actually cloning their French bulldogs because they want another run with their bulldogs. And from my research, you can clone a human up for about $1.5 million. So I believe that a megalomaniac like Jeffrey Epstein, I mean, he thought
32.
he wanted to see the world
51,
with his,
32,
he felt that he was a
51,
superior human
80.
being above all other human beings or most other human beings. So it only makes sense that he would do that he would start cloning himself. I don't really have any problem believing that.
Holy shit. I'm looking at emails now, and but essentially he's talking about this one. He's talking with Prince Andrew about human cloning, and Katie Couric was there as well. There's another file here as well in 2008.
Katie Couric.
Who was already starting to get obsessed with eugenics and genome obsession. So it goes back many, many years, and then there's talks about a baby factory plan at the Zorro Ranch. Because you mentioned it briefly now, what is that about?
Well, Juliette Bryant, have you interviewed her before?
I might have done a few months ago. She was on the panel with us, no? Was she on our panel?
No, she wasn't on the panel, no.
When we did a panel a few months ago, she wasn't there?
So, yeah, no, she was there.
Okay, then I have not interviewed her.
She has said that she was at the Zorro Ranch.
The victim, victim. I interviewed her last week. The victim, Julia Bryant.
Yeah.
Yes. I didn't interview last week.
So, she said that she was at Zorro Ranch and that she went unconscious, and then she came to. She was in like a gynecological stirrups, and there was a female doctor that was harvesting her ovaries. That's what she believes, and that is now a story like that is sensational. But if you look at the context of who we're talking to and who we're talking about, I don't think it's beyond the pale.
That one was pretty. So I've interviewed Julia, Miss Roberts. I think it's Julia, and in my interview and one before that, and she did also talk when she said that.
There's another one.
Drive northeast on Marshall Fuller Road for a half mile.
By aliens. So when she went down that path, and some people said that's due to shock, she kind of started imagining those things. But when she went down that path, it was a very different discussion with her than other victims. Was there other cases other than the interview with Miss Roberts, which I don't want to dismiss, but I'm telling you what, it made
I
it
did
more sensational. Was there other indicators you've seen in the files of anything to do with the baby factory? Because I haven't looked into that claim yet. That will go over the next few days.
Well, what we're seeing is certainly eugenics. There is an email from, I think, Robert Trivers, a noted biologist, and he's talking about giving hormone blockers to male babies and giving testosterone to female babies, and that's very shocking. I mean, what they're trying to do is produce essentially almost like a hermaphrodite. And both Epstein and Trivers find that this would be very sexy. What he says, a girl with male, basically a girl with male genitalia. And I think, to me, and I looked at a lot of this stuff and I've seen a lot of evil, but the one that really got me was the baby, enhancing a baby's sucking ability. It was from Mark Tramo. He's an MD and a PhD, a neuroscientist at UCLA, and he's writing to Jeffrey Epstein on how to enhance a baby's sucking ability. That one
I saw that one, yes.
That one got me, man. grow. Now,
Let
if
me-
it was
Go ahead.
if it was just Mark Trammell emailing like an obstetrician, it wouldn't be so shocking. But he's emailing Jeffrey Epstein. That's what makes it very shocking, and I think it's one of the more evil emails that we've seen. And actually, he's stepping down from his position at UCLA. There's a lot of pressure put on him. So there have been.
This is the one Mark Trammell says to Epstein: newborns should suck vigorously on a pacifier. That's the one, yeah?
Yes.
What does he mean by that when he says newborns should suck vigorously on a pacifier?
Well, he talks about how to make newborns suck vigorously. And that's like the voice of the mother. Is that the email that you have?
Yeah, it is, yeah. And there's other talking about the US UCLA professor. He stepped down, as you said.
And that's very, I mean, why would someone send an email like that to Jeffrey Epstein?
There's another one here, not sure if you've seen it, but that's one of those weird emails I could not really explain how it's getting access to that information, classified information. I think it's by the former Norwegian Prime Minister. And he sent an email, this is classified, he says in the email, this is classified information about polio. And if you can forward it to Bill Gates, there it is. And I want to ask you more questions about Bill Gates. How implicated do you think he is? Because some people are just, befriended a guy that turned out to be a horrific guy. Some made the mistake to befriend him even after the 2008 conviction. And others would have been involved in the crimes. And it's hard to differentiate between those three categories. But if you look at that email, it's a 2015 email. And it was a Norwegian diplomat at the time, later became prime minister. He forwarded a confidential polio report from Pakistan directly to Epstein with the subject line, urgent, confi, which means confidential, please pass on to Bill Gates. Rod calls Epstein his best friend. And in the email, it clearly states it's confidential. And he asked him to send it to Bill Gates. And obviously Bill Gates has been linked to COVID, the origins of COVID, the warnings of COVID, profiting from COVID. Depends how far you want to go down that conspiracy path. And what do you mean?
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. I don't think I'm gonna be in there very long. I'll be right back. Let's see how hot. Not too hot. Okay, let's see. everybody that he had a devil in him. He said, I got a demon named, what's his name? I don't remember his name. Demo Dharma, something like that. You know what?
Oh, you can
you
really
ain't.
hit.
My bad.
Why? Why send polio information in Pakistan to Epstein, classified to forward to Bill Gates?
That is a good question. We know that Epstein was tapped into a bunch of world leaders.
Yeah.
He's certainly the former prime minister of Norway. He was very good buddies with him. We know that. And he's taking...
Make a sharp right onto Villa Rica Highway, Georgia 61.
Yes. With that particular email, it's kind of difficult to discern what it's about. But I'll say a couple of things.
Continue for 3 miles.
With Bill Gates and these other people, all you got to do is Google Jeffrey Epstein, and you can see that he's a convicted child molester, a registered child molester.
Everyone was talking about it. It was common knowledge at the time.
So let me ask you this. If you Googled someone, let's say you met John Doe, and you Googled him, and he was a registered sex offender, would you hang out with him?
Not only this, Nick, billionaires and politicians have a team that do due diligence on people before they meet them. Very common. When I meet certain people do due diligence on me. So they would know for sure, especially diplomats, that Epstein wasn't convicted. I think he was convicted of procuring prostitution of an underage, of a minor.
Yeah.
But the allegation, that's what he was convicted of, but the allegations were significantly more extensive.
Now, there is a 2001 article in the Evening Standard, the UK's Evening Standard, that really, it's one of the more honest articles by Jeffrey Epstein. And it says that Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Gates were doing business in the 1990s.
Wow.
And the cover story on Bill Gates is that he didn't meet Epstein until 2011. But I harken back to this article, and I think that your audience would be very interested in the article. Epstein comes out and says that he's CIA in the article. So, I mean, he doesn't say it directly to the journalists, but he has said it to other people.
Nick, in a communication with Steve
In 1 mile, turn left onto Pine Shadows Drive.
His intelligence has not really gone through the files. There's literally communication with Steve Bannon where Epstein says he's going into a SCIF. A SCIF is one of the most, protected,
locked
down, classified meetings in the U.S. government, military, FBI, CIA. And for anyone, even foreign intelligence struggle to have access to a SCIF unless they're part of the, I think...
In a half mile, turn left onto Pine Shadows Drive.
I remember something so that's Australia, France, UK, Israel, the US. So if you're not part of one of these intelligence agencies, or you're not part of the US government, or have classified access, Five Eyes has some sort of classified access, you cannot be part of a SCIF. That was after the conviction 2008. So
turn left onto Pine Shadows Drive.
Have access to a SCIF in 2008, 2009. Take a step back though, Nick. I want to go through some of the emails.
Continue for a half mile.
Whether Epstein was just an evil man doing disgusting things and other people got caught up with it, or that was all intentional. That was an intelligence blackmail operation, kind of a honeypot-like operation. And if you go through the emails...
Let me just say one thing about his CIA connections. After he left Bear Stearns, a lot of people have surmised that he was dealing with BCCI. Bear Stearns was dealing with BCCI, which was a very dirty bank. It laundered money for drug dealers. It laundered money for the CIA. It laundered money for arms dealers. It was probably the dirtiest bank ever known to humanity. And after that, he went into business with a CIA asset named Stan Pottinger, who had been very high-ranking in the Justice Department, but he was actually caught on tape putting together an arms deal for the Iranians when the Iranians were a combatant state to the U.S. And the prosecutor that was prosecuting him was Rudolph Giuliani.
In a quarter mile, turn left onto Buford Drive.
Lost the tapes that incriminated Stan Podger in the illegal arms deal. And Epstein and Podger were in business together. They, according to the...
Turn left onto Buford Drive.
They came out with a very silly article that said Jeffrey Epstein wasn't a spy. But according to the New York Times...
In 400 feet, 43 Buford Drive, Dallas, Georgia 30157, USA will be on the left. 43 Buford Drive, Dallas, Georgia 30157, USA is on the left.
The intelligence ties go back before the latest drop of Epstein file, but it was pretty clear from me. There's just so many indicators from the beginning, from the first school that he started teaching in, and who William Barr's father bringing him into that school, and it goes on from there, from bass turns to the arms dealers he worked with. The list goes on. That's a whole other discussion. Robert Maxwell's relationship as well with Ghislaine, and his relations with his connections with intelligence. So I want to go through some of the emails, and I'll open the first one. And this is an exchange between Epstein and a victim or a woman. We don't know if she's a victim or not, how old she is. So Epstein emails are saying, now that I understand, try to take some nude photos. Be open, brave, sexy, wild, dance, jump, have fun, live. And then Epstein goes, I think you should take some of yourself first now. I want you to be free with yourself. I think you should study English. Go online. There are many places that can take TOEFL tests. The photos should be not porn, should be sexy. Do you watch porn? And then the girl replies, I watch porn, of course. Okay, then I will be at home and I'll try to take some selfies also. So this is Epstein encouraging a girl to take photos and videos of her porno videos, really sexually explicit videos and photos. And then in another email here, this is a girl telling Epstein, I'm gonna bleep out some words, I tried your back massage on a couple of guys at dinner yesterday. They all liked it a lot and it's so easy. I think they all want to fuck me now. And she goes on, very explicit, very descriptive about different sexual moves she used on them, some things that worked, some things that didn't, what she didn't enjoy. She's explaining it all to Epstein. She's like, you're right, this worked, that worked, I tried this. And it literally read like I'm interviewing a Russian spy, and the Russian spy was talking about sex. And that's the one I was talking about just now, yeah. The Russian spy that I'm going to be interviewing in a few days, she talks about how she used sex as a weapon. That was her job. She was conducting honeypot operations. And the way she described sex and strategies is the same way that this girl was describing them to Jeffrey. And there's other examples here where someone sends to Epstein the following comment, girls are making money. 33. Epstein says, bring a lot of toys. And the redacted name could be a victim says, yes, master. But so that redacted name could be either the victim or someone that is bringing other women for Epstein. So looking at all these, and I've got other examples as well, and that people can go through, we'll put them on screen in the post-production. Does it, to you, Nick, in all your research that you've done in the latest files, does it look like an operation that is a planned operation in order to entrap people and have material against them to blackmail them later on? Or do you think it was Epstein being sick in his devious world?
All his homes were wired for audiovisual blackmail. So we know that. His place in New York City, according to two victims, Epstein showed them a secret room, and there were men, as in plural, looking at the monitors, and the cameras showed all the bedrooms and all the bathrooms. I believe that it was definitely, Jeffrey Epstein did a lot of things. He sold arms, he laundered money, he was a talented guy, but he was also a blackmailer, a honeypot. But here's the thing. Some of the people that he blackmailed are the most powerful men in the world. And those guys have access to thugs. I mean, Les Wexner had access to the mafia, and also a guy like Barack certainly has access to his Israeli intelligence. But there's other people too that are very powerful, and there's no way that Jeffrey Epstein, as a college dropout,
billions. So Wexner is one of the people that made Epstein so wealthy. He gave him power of attorney for his billions. Les Wexner is the founder of Victoria's Secret. He says that he had no clues of any criminal activities of Epstein. He hired Epstein because he trusted him, and based on recommendations by prominent financial figures. I wonder who that is. Who recommended Les Wexner? Hey, you should hire Epstein. And this is where people said the intelligence played a role. They convinced people with Les Wexner's stature to hire Epstein, putting a word for him, influencing them, and that allowed Epstein to move up on the echelon so quickly. Les Wexner said he claims everything ended in 2007 when Epstein allegedly stole tens of millions from him. He said he never saw minors, never been on the plane, went to the island once, and claims Epstein ran a double life. One that is a well-connected financial advisor, and another one as a criminal. And Les easily says, I'm innocent, didn't know about any of this, and I was naive and was tricked by Epstein. Hard to believe a billionaire of his stature, his capabilities, to just be tricked by someone who was very convincing and giving him power of attorney for billions. It's hard to believe that statement, but would love to get your thoughts on it.
Les Wexner is dirty. I mean, he's as dirty as Epstein. And he was part of the pedophilic enterprise of Jeffrey Epstein. And I don't have any problem saying that. There's been a lot of corroboration that he and Jeffrey Epstein had a very strange relationship. They were lovers, I believe, but then they were also pedophiles together. And though Les Wexner, I think, molested underage boys primarily, I believe that he also molested underage girls. And Epstein and Wexner together, there was a CI proprietary airline called Southern Air Transport. And it was down in Florida, and they moved it to Columbus, Ohio, ostensibly to move product for Les Wexner's enterprise. But who knows exactly what they did. And Les Wexner, I wrote an article for the Sheer Post some years ago where I really got into Les Wexner's connections to organized crime. He was heavily plugged into the Genovese crime family. So Les Wexner is a very dirty guy. And to think that he was naive, Vanity Fair said, and I can't believe they said this, Vanity Fair said Les Wexner gave Jeffrey Epstein power of attorney over his vast fortune in 1991 because he was lonely. That's what Vanity Fair said. He was lonely.
I read that.
You can see how the media has covered for these guys. I mean, the government has covered for them because Les Wexner should be indicted and he should be in prison now. The media has covered for them.
Okay, that's it.